Hello everyone, today is a different setup than normal. Today's video is going to be an eyeshadow palette collection video, and I'm on the floor because I'm going to show you guys on the floor today. Behind me is this bookshelf. This is where I keep all of my eyeshadows in about half of the shelf, and I have some mini palettes in this one drawer. I am going to put you down on the floor. If you love eyeshadow, do not forget to subscribe. I do a lot of looks and I do a lot of different content with eyeshadow palettes. And then if you want to like and comment your favorite palettes, that would be nice too. I love talking to you guys down there, and I hope you guys enjoy today's video. Alrighty, here's my hands in my carpet. If you hear any dog noises, I am very sorry. This is in no particular order other than how I have them on my shelf, and they tend to be based on size. So we're going to start on the top shelf. So first we have my BH 1991 palette. I got this, I think at Marshall's or TJ Maxx, and I just love the color story. To me, this is perfect for fall, and BH palettes are just so underrated and so good. They did get bought out by Makeup Revolution, and I do not know if they really have anything. I did want to check, but this is a really nice fall palette. This one makes me sad. I got a Melt mystery box for Christmas, was it last year? And this was the palette that was in there, the Gemini 2. I love Gemini 1 in terms of everything. I don't own it. This is what mine currently looks like. These two are not original to the palette. My original Mateo, I don't know. This one grew some sort of mold, white substance. Melt says it's not mold. I beg to differ. It looked sketchy. I ain't putting it on my eyeballs. So I took out both of the shimmers. Now I don't know what to do with this palette because I repressed 2 shimmers in here and I never used the palette. I think I used it once so far. Have my Glamlight Barbie palette. Another one from Marshall's, TJ Maxx. I love and adore all the pinks, the purples. You do have a couple like warm tone yellowy sort of shades. All these shimmers here, beautiful. Glamlight makes a fantastic formula. And then I also have my Michaela palette. It has like that glitter that you can move around. I really enjoy the packaging. And then I also really enjoy the color story as well. This to me, I think, is one of my favorite palettes in my collection. We have greens and blues, purples, pinks, lots of neutrals. You can do a lot with this, and the fact that this palette has a shade called Buffalo Chicken wins my heart. So, one of my favorite palettes in my collection. This here is an AOA Pro like magnetic palette. You can get them on the Shop Miss A website. But this is all of my Christmas in July singles from Sydney Grace. I have a sticker here. Here is all of my Sydney Grace singles. I've been using this quite a bit this month, trying to get some more use on it. All of these has come from mystery bags, mystery boxes, all the sorts. So I try to organize them as best I could. These are the only singles I have in my collection. Next are all of my Fantasy Cosmetica palettes. I have 5 of them. 3 of them I got in a giveaway, and then 2 of them came in my most recent mystery box that I got. So we'll go with the 3 like originals that I had. These are the old packaging. They now come in new updated packaging that I prefer, like the packaging of. And the singles are going to be magnetic, so you can now take these shadows out, rearrange, put them in a Z palette, whatever you want to do. So that is a very nice change that Fantasy Cosmetic has done for their brand. I love and adore their formula, and I really enjoy the color stories. I have the Bard, and I'm sorry about like my ring light here, but you guys gotta see I think this is one of my favorite ones just because of how like every day I can use this. It's just a color story that's easy for me to use, and these shimmers are beautiful. Druid, I think Druid is my favorite. Just look at it. Just look at it. This is like a fall dream. It is beautiful. And then Sorcerer, I have 2 pans in, and I just did a video about all the pans in my collection. This reminds me of that Barbie Glamlight palette in Color Story, but more condensed, and of course specialer because it's Fantasy Cosmetica. These 2 are the newest ones to me, and I haven't used them as much yet because they're so new. I have the Rogue, which is greens, blues, purples, stunning. And you can see some of those shifts. I really enjoy this palette. And then the Wizard, which I think this is my favorite packaging. Look how beautiful it is. This one is definitely unique. It's primarily like a blue and then pops a yellow. So I think I have every single palette except for the Warlock, which is a different color story. And then their most recent one they came out with that isn't this shape. And I think that kind of annoys me. I have 3 Odin's Eye palettes that are in this packaging, the more square. So we have my Alva eyeshadow palette. I had this in my first mystery box with them. This is a easy color story. My only thing is some of these shimmers look pretty similar, but it is just, this purple is my favorite. It's just so easy to use, and this is one of their like older palettes, so quality has definitely gone a long way. These 2 are in collaboration with Angelica Nikavist, and I would not have bought these on my own, but they came in that mystery box, which you all know, these are the only 2 things I kept in that box. We have the Gila palette, which has a lot of tones of green. It's got some pops of pink in here. I really enjoy this color story. I love green eyeshadow. I'm wearing it today. This is a beautiful color story. And then I did a 3 looks 1 palette video with the little Ghost palette. This color story to me is beautiful. You got so many options in here, and I really enjoy the looks I've done with this. The quality of Odin's Eye has definitely gotten better, and these are my 3 like square Odin's Eye palettes. I have all 3 of the Weekend Vibes palettes from BH. I am not a collector. It's just some things you like and you get it in every color. Mimosa is the first one I had. My now fiance bought this for me when it kind of first came out. We bought it at Ulta, and I got a pan in here. Look at me go. But this is such a summery, springy palette. All the pinks. You got some pops of oranges and yellows. Hi, Shiloh. Please get your little toe beans. Please get your toe beans out. He's like, no, Mom. These 2 I got at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, when BH was going bankrupt, a lot of financial issues. We thought BH was gone forever. 99% of the makeup section at these stores were BH Cosmetics, so I got avocado toast. This is a gorgeous green palette. I should do my all-time favorite green palettes, but I think that would be a March type of thing. What do you want, Mr. Shiloh? Then we have my Blueberry Muffin palette. Out of the 3, I think this one's my least favorite, but it has my favorite shimmer shades. Sweet is a beautiful champagne-y. Cravings has a pink twist to it. Crumble and Yummy are really pretty. Like, these are just really nice shimmers in here. The mattes don't really do it for me, but the shimmers definitely do. I think this is called the Night Flower palette, but it is from Lethal. The shimmers are beautiful. The mattes are beautiful. By the time I'm filming this, I've only done 1 look with this palette, and I use like the blues and the dark purples. Really enjoy that lethal formula. This one I think is my oldest eyeshadow palette. I got this in a BoxyCharm years ago. It's my Pure Festival palette. These two were pressed glitters and I took them out years ago, but some nice pans in here. This was my all-time favorite summer palette, and I think after this summer, I think it should, you know, be retired officially. We have my Profusion Ethereal here. This is such a pretty palette. Kirsten's Makeup Vanity persuaded me to buy this, even though she ended up like decluttering it. She didn't like this palette very much, but I love and adore it. We have Eloise the Queen palette, which this was like an all-time favorite palette of mine in my collection. I did a collab video with Erica Conjure with this one. Really beautiful look. I really enjoyed it. My one and only Juvia's Place palette. This is a Pastel Dream. I really do love this palette, and it's got to get a lot more use. I have two of the Moira eyeshadow palettes. I have Magic Dreaming and I have Fun is in the Air. I got these in a giveaway. Like, I would not have gone out of my way to purchase this. This is definitely unique. Not my favorite palette by any means, but I have it and I do enjoy the looks when I make with it. This one though, the Magic Dreaming from the Moiraland series palettes, this one is gorgeous. I love all the neutral tones. Has some beautiful pinks, purples, and blues. Now we have some really deep shades that you can anchor a look. Some sultry shimmers. I really enjoy this palette. Yeah, live life and enjoy magical nights. This is such a beautiful palette. And when I used it earlier this year, I made some beautiful looks. My only gripe with this is the size of the packaging. They are pretty thick, but they do look pretty on my bookshelf because you can actually read them. It looks like a book. I have one Nomad palette, and I got this because this poor thing got discontinued. This is the Tokyo Harajuku palette, and it is stunning. You have a row of mattes, a row of satins, and then a row of these like multi-chrome, sheer, you know, the special shades. I have made multiple looks out of this palette that I absolutely love and adore. I feel like this is very underrated, and I feel like the people who have it, I don't think appreciate it as they should. It's a gorgeous palette. Very disappointed that Nomad got rid of this, but very happy for me. I got it for like, I think more than 50% off. I have two of these Natasha Denona palettes. I have the Yucca palette, which was recently on like killer discount, and I used like Ulta points, so I practically got this for free, and I just love and adore these greens. It reminds me of the Gila palette from Odin's Eye, and I love this palette. I think I'll love it even more like in the fall time. My first big palette was the My Dream palette from Natasha. I got this for my birthday from my fiance, and this color story is just beautiful. I need to reach for it more. And this is like a green, can you see, green to like a fuchsia. But this is like an easy everyday type of color story. The Natasha Denona formula is really nice, but are these worth $70? No, please get them on sale. My favorite palette that I have bought in so far this year, this is Divertune Cosmetics Gloomy Gardens. Oh, this palette is gorgeous. I love looking at this. And, you know, after testing it, I kind of put it back in my collection, and I really want to make more and more looks with this. This you can do more complicated, you can do simple, easy, one look, two shadow looks. Gorgeous. And these pop out, and then they have the shades on the back, so which is nice if you have Z palettes, you want to rearrange colors, have at it. And the packaging is beautiful. I have two of the big Huda Beauty palettes. My first one was Mercury Retrograde. This one I got because it was on sale because they were discontinuing it. Oh, got it on sale because they were going to discontinue it. It is no longer with us, unfortunately. And you can see my pants. I love this palette. It was like my all-time favorite palette like 2 years ago. I still love and enjoy this palette. It is such a beauty. It's sad that she got rid of this because I feel like she got rid of this and now everyone loves it so much. Rose Quartz came into my life. I think I got this. I think I requested it for Christmas. I think my fiance bought it for me. But ain't this packaging beautiful? Huda does amazing packaging. But look at these shades. The only thing I don't like about this palette is this like petri dish type of shade. It's like a putty mess. And it's not very nice on the eyes. I mean, it's pretty in a swatch, but it is not pretty on the eyes. And it creases, and it's not a good formula, and she keeps putting these in her palettes, and I do not understand why. But like Moon Magic, Blissful, Cosmic Love, these are all so shifty on the eyes, so beautiful. More of a cooler toned palette, gorgeous. We have my KAB Cosmetics The Cab. I don't think this is a brand anymore. I got this in a BoxyCharm. They sold a version of this like online, like the black packaging, and then they sold a version of this in Walmart with like white packaging and black lettering. But there was like a $30 difference. It was crazy. Regardless, I enjoy this palette. It is a warm toned dream. Definitely gonna reach for this a lot in the summertime when I'm looking for those roasty, toasty, sunset shades. This is the palette to go to. Many moons ago, my bestest friend in the whole world gave me this palette because I wanted it so bad. The e.l.f. 18 Hit Wonders palette. It is a pretty rainbow palette, except this really doesn't give you a rainbow look. These purples just look dark. I'm not a fan of like these three shades. Some of these are pretty patchy. The best shade in this palette is Vibrant in terms of quality. This is just amazing. But Moss is my favorite shade in this palette. It is beautiful, and I will not get rid of this ever because my bestest friend got it for me. Italian Spritz, I think this is my favorite palette purchase from last year. I had to retire my Chocolate Bonbons palette like 2 years ago, and so I was missing a Too Faced palette. Then they came out with this. This is a beautiful summer palette, and my two favorite shades is Toasted in Tuscany and Espresso Yourself. These two in the crease look stunning, and then you can put anything on the lid and be good. But you all know I love my pinks and peaches. Stunning. Really beautiful. The quality is really nice. It smells good like Too Faced normally does. Definitely in the summertime should do a like 3 looks 1 palette with this and give it some more love. I have 2 ABH palettes. I have my Norvina. I got this on sale, 21 Days of Beauty, and I want to get significantly more use on this palette. It is beautiful. To me, it screams more of a fall palette because of these like really rich shimmer shades. And these mattes are pretty saturated in color, but this is beautiful. And I do not like the packaging. I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it gets so dirty and it looks old. It's that like fuzzy packaging. It just looks bad, and I'm so glad they stopped doing this packaging eventually. This one is plain cardboard. It just has some scratches in it. This is the Alyssa Edwards. Alyssa Edwards is a drag queen. Like, I don't follow that realm, but this is a beautiful color story. Quality, on the other hand, is a little iffy. I should, like, not force myself, but I should bring this out, do a couple looks with it, and see if it's worth keeping. Because in my opinion, I think I have better colors than this. I only have 2 Naked palettes. I have the Naked Reloaded. My great aunt gave this to me. It is such a beautiful all neutral palette. And I did a whole video about neutral palettes. Such a beautiful one. The formula on Urban Decay isn't my all-time favorite. Shiloh sniffing my hand, if you can hear the huffs and puffs. But this packaging is stunning. I love this sparkly sky. This is the Robin Eisenberg Naked palette. It disappoints me that the inside doesn't match how beautiful the outside is. Like, why could we not have a purple matte or like a pink matte? I feel like this is a little underwhelming. But I did get this at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, one of them. I do enjoy the palette. I think I like the packaging more. I have all 3 of the, was it the Perfect World or something world? I forget the title of the series. But I have Planet Spirit, Flora Story, and Sea Talk. Planet Spirit is Betty Jean. She changed her name on YouTube's and everything else, but this is stunning. I didn't think I would like this one as much as I do, but you can't tell me this color story is not beautiful. I have done so many beautiful looks with this. I think my favorite shade is that green color. Flora Story is from Amanda, Makeup Just for Fun. This is, to me, the most wearable because of the purples and the greens. And the shade is stunning. Do you see it? You see it and you love it. Odin's Eye Sea Talk is Lauren from Lauren Made Beauty. I think this is my favorite one out of them all, just based on color story. You have a pop of yellow, you have some nice neutrals, some pretty blues. This one will definitely be taken out in the summertime. I have my Wanderous Escape palette. This is so pretty for summertime. If you are one for the like sultry, warm tone types of looks. My only thing is like this sea glass color, it looks beautiful, except it's so dark. It is such a dark color, and it's hard for me to use it the way I want to with this color story. So that's really my only flaw, but love the color story. The formula of Wander Beauty is pretty good. What's Up Beauty, such an underrated indie brand. I really want their Dragon palette. I got this sent to me because I won a giveaway, and it is stunning. These shimmers are stunning. The mattes are stunning. I need to do more looks with this palette. I think Crystal is my favorite shade. It's like that purple iridescence. It's so pretty. I love the color story on this. Urban Decay Stone Vibes. This is my last Urban Decay. This is my last Urban Decay palette. The packaging is stunning. I got this for Christmas years ago, and you can't tell me this isn't pretty. It really disappoints me that Urban Decay has not done this sort of format and formula again. This palette was so popular, and Urban Decay really missed the mark. They could have done so many things with geodes and nature and things of that nature that they really missed the mark. This formula is amazing. The format's amazing. It's 3D, but So sad that Urban Decay doesn't have that anymore. It was a holiday palette. Lorac Fairy Tale Forest. Lorac has a special place in my heart because my first ever high-end makeup purchase was a Lorac Pro palette. It was their original one, the long, skinny one. I did a pan that palette with that one in 2018. It eventually got old and very well used, and I got rid of it. Lorac came out with new palettes, and this one is gorgeous. I love the format on this one so much more, and it is such a pretty neutral palette. Some of these shades here look kind of similar, but when you get them on the eyes, they do look different. I kind of want another Lorac Pro palette, but I don't need one. If you watch my neutral palette video, then you know that once you have one, you have them all. This is another very recent palette. This is the Menagerie Feral. I just adore the packaging. You got this cute little fox thingy. And so far I've only done one look with it, which this is the palette I'm wearing today. This is stunning. You got pinks and purples and reds, and you got blue and green. You got a little bit of everything. I just don't know how to explain it. I really enjoy this palette. And again, I've only used it once, so I don't really have full thoughts. This is my Tartelette Juicy palette. I did a Throwback Thursday with this one. I thoroughly enjoy this palette. To me, this is a really perfect everyday eyeshadow palette. I do prefer more pink leaning tones on myself, but you have a beautiful neutral row, you have a classic pink, and then like somewhere in the middle, stunning. Tarte eyeshadows are very underrated. Now we have all of my ColourPop palettes. These are, I think, these are the only ones I have, which ColourPop puts out a lot of palettes, so I'm surprised this is all I have, especially since they're very affordable, they're pretty decent and very good quality. But I have the ColourPop Garden variety. This was my first ever ColourPop palette, and I still think to this day this is my favorite ColourPop palette. It is just so up my alley. I adore peaches and purples. They just hit my soul. There's some nice dips in this palette, but we all know ColourPop shadows are horrendous to pan because they take so long. I have my ColourPop Lost in Wonderland. This is my only branded, I think it's my only branded palette, period. I love the packaging. I got this when it went on sale. I was not paying $20 some for a ColourPop palette, so I waited till it went down to like $15. I wore this one the other day. Oh, it's so pretty. Like looking at it, you're like, I don't really know what to do with this, but I've made some beautiful looks and I'm very glad I own it. This is a summer staple palette. I am thinking for my palette bingo in the summertime to use this palette. You have some nice sultry warm neutrals, pops of blue, oranges, yellows, some purples. I feel like doing a palette bingo with this would be very fun. These last two are like the geode sort of palettes. I have Of Quartz, which is the cooler tone one. I need to learn to love this. It's not my favorite palette. And then All Amethyst, I love a lot. This purple palette, stunning. The tones of the purples in here are just so special, so pretty. I highly recommend this palette. I'm gonna do my very small palettes next, because then I have just my 3 extra large palettes, and I feel like we can get through these real quick. I have 3 of these Essence palettes, and if you see stuff on them, I put a transparent top coat nail polish to try and keep the lettering. But we have Nothing Compares to Nudes. This is such a simple and easy nude palette. I primarily keep these just for travel. I don't really use them. Hi, Shiloh. I don't really use them day to day. Coral Me Maybe is like so nice for the summertime. And I really enjoyed taking this traveling with me in the summer. It's just a perfect palette. And then Taupe It Up, I think, is my least favorite only because of the tones. Cool tones are just not my vibe all the time. My favorite shade in this palette is this one. It's so pretty. In my makeup collection, anything that is a duo or larger is considered an eyeshadow palette or a palette in general. So this is technically a highlighter duo, but these are not going to be highlighters on my skin tone. I use these as eyeshadows. They are counted as an eyeshadow palette. I have one of the little Huda Nude palettes. This one is the Nude Light. This is another one of my everyday perfect color stories. We got my little trios. We have a Natasha Denona mini, or what do they call it? The baby. These suckers are $19 or something. I got this in one of those like holiday kits. But this is such a pretty like simple fall look. I like to reach for this in that time of season. Then this is a Kaja Bento Stack and Smolder Season. I'm not sure if I like the packaging on these, but the top shade is super like a glittery, beautiful color. The middle shade is a nice shimmer brown, and then we have a plain matte brown. The last three palettes in my collection, folks, we're at the tail end. These three are the biggest palettes that are in my collection. We have my NYX Ultimate Utopia. I did a 3 looks 1 palette with this one. I love and adore it. Shiloh, please do not put your nose on my eyeshadow. This is Perfusion Starlet. Another really pretty palette. I don't use this one anywhere near as much as I should. And then last but not least is my Morphe 35 No Silent Nights. This is such like a perfect everyday neutral, barely can think about it eyeshadow. Please don't get out of here, Shiloh. I love and adore this palette. I do not support Morphe, but I got this as a gift and I just love and adore it. But I hope you guys enjoyed my eyeshadow palette collection, and comment what your favorite palette is. Do you want any palettes used in a video? Oh, Shiloh. He's like, I want to play. He's like, Mom, I want to play with the eyeshadow. Yeah, I do. Give a like for Shiloh. Give a like for Shiloh. Yeah.